What is up, YouTube? HPJ here, and it took some time. Uh, four days, 4 days, approximately 4 days to get this together. So this is my first version of Harpie for the Genesis format. You guys have asked about this, and I delivered. Now, here's the thing. I had to do thousands of mock-ups, thousands of figuring things out, thousands of just it was a lot to get here. And I'm pretty sure another Genesis update probably in November would get a lot more people happy too. But I cannot do this 100 cap thing. I'm sorry. 100 cap for no feather dust, no feather storm. I had to take out feather duster. All the reliable resources I needed were extremely too much for the deck capacity. And it just came a hot mess. It just came a hot mess. And this is part of the reason why I didn't want to do a Genesis deck with a restriction. Because having a deck with a Genesis restriction means everything that I need to use or want to use is limited. And it sucks. It really does. This is like it was stupid. I should have went for at least the 200 or maybe just did a zero everyone and just went from there, which I think would have just been easier for me to do. Am I going to enter a tournament with a particular deck built around this? No, God, no. Because if they told me everything, 100, if they told me 100 cap or 50 cap, I'm good. Just no. Nah, I'm good. You guys have fun. But I did at least do it for you guys who asked, and I will explain the process of everything in short term, which was holy shit, this took a long period of time. There were cards I had to cut, there were cards I wanted to put in, then realized that their deck capacity number was way too high. There were spells I couldn't use. There were some spells I wanted to use. I wanted to put Pot of Greed and Graceful Charity in here, and found out that took up more than 50% of the deck capacity for 100 mark. So I was like, yeah, nope. Alright, let's just look at what basic things I can use to defend myself with, and at least try from there. And that's literally where I got to with this. So, look, if you don't like the deck, you can go ahead and make your own. But this is what I did, and I hope it works out for you. Alright, so starting off with the monsters, I'm running 3 copies of Harpie Channeler. I'm running 3 copies of Harpie Perfumer. 3 copies of Harpie Lady 1. You can sub in for Cyber Harpie if that's the Harpie you choose. I'm running 2 copies of Harpie Pet Dragon for some Fire Blast. 2 copies of Harpie Dancer, 2 copies of Harpie Harpist, 1 Oracle, 1 Queen, and 1 Harpie Lady Sisters. To round out my monsters, it's a full set of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. So that is it for the monsters. Alright, move these bad boys over. Now let's go into these spell cards. So I'm running 3 copies of Hysteric Sign, 3 copies of Ellie Egotist, 2 Hardening Ground, a Featheress, Alluring Mirror Split, 2 Summon Storms, and 2 Divine Wind of the Mist Valley. And that is it for the spells. Then for the traps, I'm running simply 3 copies of Infinity Impermanence and 2 copies of Hysteric Party. And that's literally it. That is all the cards in the deck. That is a total of 40 with a deck capacity of 100, mainly going for Infinity Impermanence and for, what was it? Ash Blossom Enjoys Spring. Then for the rest of the deck, I'm going to the extra 3 copies Cyber Slash Harpie Lady, 1 Harpie's Pet Phantasmal Dragon, 2 copies of Lightning Chidori, 2 copies of Ice Beast Zero Fine, 1 Castell, 1 Draco Sack, 1 Maestroke, 1 Arsenal Falcon, 1 Red Eye Flare Metal, 1 Big Eye, and 1 Typhoon. So that's literally everything in the deck overall, with all the cards included and needed. And this deck capacity is at least 95 because the extra deck had held the last of the monster count, and that was because of Typhoon. So, alright, let's go over the deck choices. And where is Terraforming? I will tell you this now. I didn't know Terraforming was 33 points. for the deck capacity. So I could not put in terraforming, although it would have been nice to have the terraforming. I would have maybe tried to drop one, was it? One Infinity Impermanence and maybe one Ash Blossom, but I still needed the defense. I tried to run. I was looking for some of the cards to correspond with being a zero-pointed hand trap, but that really doesn't help either because a lot of them are definitely not meant for current format. And what do you do with a Karibo? Because that's only blocking, what, 3 attacks? And that possibility of having Karibo, yeah, it wasn't worth it. Well, Charmian then probably could have easily worked in here as well. But that's more so of draw power. And Maxi was already at 50, so that would have cut through half of that as well. There was a lot of things that I had to put up with that I swear next time I build a Harpie deck for Genesis, it's zero. It's zero. Just everyone is zero. Everything is zero. Everything is legal. Everything is going to be into the deck. I don't care. People want to be mad about it. Just be mad about it. So I am running 3 Harpie Channeler as the starter of this deck. You can discard a Harpie card to touch summon a Harpie monster from your deck. And if you control a dragon, her level then changes from 4 to 7. So that gives her the optimal plays for both Xyz and for even setting up into your Synchro Summon. Then I have the 3 copies of Harpie Perfumer in this deck to search out for spells and traps that specifically list Harpie Lady Sisters in its text from our deck to her hand. And then while you control a level 7 or while you control a level 5 or higher Harpie monster, she can add an additional card, which is great because you get to search out for your pieces and add them to your hand to help your deck itself getting to a lot of your core pieces. Mainly you want to get to Elegant Egotist so you can swarm the board with Egotist as effect and then go into a lot of your Synchros and a lot of your Xyz. Into your Synchro monster and then and tons of your Xyz. Then we have Harpie Lady 1 giving it the additional 300 attack points to all win monsters on the field. You can dump out for Cyber Harpie if you just want the beat stick, because this kind of reminds me of like before the links, before the pendulums, all of that. And you could easily drop in like your Harpies, because this, like I said, there's so many different things in this deck that have changed between what hat format was and what's currently out. Perfumer being added to it allows you to have a monster that we have another target for Harpie Channeler. We don't have to run the the Garnet of the deck, which would have been Harpie's Pet Dragon. We now have Harpie's Pet Dragon Fierce on Fire, who can be special summoned while you control a level 6 or lower monster. That's wind. You can easily go into your Xyz with this, which is great. You have, of course, Chandler and them to help out with a lot of the conditions and things that need to be met. So literally, it's a great opportunity to have this monster without having to rely on the OG dragon if you were cursed with hat format. Also, in addition to that, too, is that there's so many different things you can do with this dragon now. Mainly just to Xyz into your bigger targets, like your Draco Sacks, your big guys, and stuff like that. As far as the other additional things go, you'll send Harpie to the grave, and then she has even more targets than what she would have had before. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, Harpie didn't come out till after hat format, literally a whole year. So hey, at least we can have them all congruently together and be used. Harpie Dancer is here to play around with both Harpie Channeler, with Divine Wind of the Mist Valley, because yes, you can run Divine Wind of the Mist Valley, isn't that something? I was trying to fit in Gene's Ally Birdman, maybe try to fit in a couple more synchros, but then I was like, you know what, no, I just want to play with the rank 4s and rank 7s. I don't need any more gimmicks that my deck does not have the deck capacity for. And even then, it sucked to not run Terraforming in this deck because I need that additional search. So maybe in a future build, but I'm not sure. And like I said, if I'm doing another Genesis format, I'm going for either 0 or 500. And I might go for 500 so I can add the additional pieces that I need to this deck to really fill on. Because sorry, not sorry, guys. When I played a lot of those older games, that was the first thing I did. Once I was able to find cheat codes and stuff, was I maximize that deck capacity. Harpie Harpist is here to search for our Harpies. She can search for Dancer, she can search for Perfumer, she can search for Channeler, she can search for Oracle. She's a really resourceful monster in terms of searching for cards when she is in the graveyard at the end of the turn is when she is sent to the graveyard. And in conjunction with that, she is the primary target for Harpie's Pay Baby Dragon. Harpie's Pay Dragon First on Fire, who's going to be sending her to the grave via its effect. Harpie Oracle, only one of, because she's going to search out for our spells and traps with Harpie Lady Sisters in its text from our graveyard and adding to the hand at the end of the turn. So while Perfumer is searching for them during the automatically, Oracle is there to retrieve them during the end phase. I put in one Queen to help us thin out the deck and search out for our pieces. I put out Harpie Lady Sisters because, of course, I wanted that additional search, and with all these additional cards, why not run in the Sisters? She is still the Garnet of the deck, but hey, at least she still has some utilities to her. And then the 3 Ash Blossom Enjoying Spring. This was a total of 45 together for their entry into the deck capacity, because I needed a way to stop my opponent from searching and doing all the crazy shenanigans they get to do. Alright, so that is it for the monsters. Then for the spells, Hysteric Sign and Elegant Egotist, 2 major combo pieces to this deck that you definitely need. Being able to search for your spells and traps that specifically have Harpie in its name when sent from hand or field to the grave, or on play to add Elegant Egotist from your deck or graveyard to your hand. So you can get over a lot of things. You can get, a lot of your big monster field presence onto the board. Harpie Lady 1 can just help you poke at things, or you can run Cyber Harpie Lady yourself to help out. Ego also gets out Sisters, which is a great point for Perfumer and Oracle, even though we do run the addition of Harpie's Pet Dragon First on Fire. And to be very honest with you, I'm glad neither of these have any numbers attached to them, because the only Harpie cards that had deck capacity attached to them was Feather Duster, which is 33, and Harpie's Featherstorm, which is a full 100. So yeah. Then from there, I ran, of course, my back removal in the form of 2 Harpie's Hunting Ground. Even though I kicked out, Harpie's Feather Duster. I know Trunade and Heavy are out there, but I think both of them have deck capacities attached to them. Trunade, I think, more so than Heavy, but I wasn't really going to factor in touching them. I feel like if I have enough Backrow resources, I just pop my own cards, and then I can always retrieve it with Oracle's ability. And I can search it out with either Perfumer, Queen, or Hysteric Sign. Of course, Harpie's Feather Rest for some draw power. Alluring Mirror Split to be popped to special summon from the grave. I have these Summon Storms to help out with resources as well. This is definitely, a little lopsided, but this is definitely a really good card with playing around with Divine Wind of the Mist Valley, because you can special summon it like the Harpie Dancer or the Harpie Channeler, and then utilize their abilities to put the Dancer onto the board and then bounce the Dancer back and then put another monster in play or put herself back onto the field, and then be able to touch something off of the Divine Wind, which Shaking the Witch, Divine Wind of the Mist Valley, which is funny because they did not touch Divine Wind of the Mist Valley in Genesys format, and I'm actually really happy because I've been wanting to play this card for such a long time. But TCG still has it at 1. I guess they don't want Wind decks to really thrive off of Divine Wind in combination with that of GX Ally Birdman. But Harpies don't want to really have to run Birdman if they can just play around with Harpie Dancer and a couple other utility cards. And shout out to the Mist Valley, who still for the last decade, and watching all the other Hidden Arsenal cards get retrains and reboots, have not gotten a single card. So hopefully, fingers crossed, in the future, Divine Wind of the Mist Valley and the Mist Valley monsters get some support and some love. So that is it for all of my spells. I believe none of my spells in this deck right now actually have any deck capacity. So that's actually a good thing. But my trap cards do, and it starts off, of course, with the triple copies of Infinity Impermanence, which is here to negate and deal with monster effects. And if this card is, I have no cards on the field and my opponent starts using effects, I can easily just drop this from my hand and start negating monsters on the board. Yes, this is basically my cheap way version out of Valor, and also getting around the whole I don't have Featherstorm. So I'm doing the best that I can. And then double Hysteric Party just so that I can swarm the field if need be and go into my Synchro or my EXEs. Alright, moving on from there is into the extra deck, which this is going to be really simple itself. Cyber/Harpie Lady, of course. I'm running 3 of, not 2, because I want the additional slot, I want additional manpower, and I wanted the additional resources. You know, being able to finally, no links, no pendulum. And she came out way after pendulum and way after the year where harpies were getting so many major resources. So, you know, having access to her, Perfumer, Oracle, Harpist, and a lot of the other resource cards, while it feels like to me a pre-pendulum-esque situation, why not run her? And plus, she was at 0 too. Then the Phantasmal Dragon to swing at your opponent directly, protect your Harpie cards. The only thing, like I said, is that he has to watch out for destruction because there's no conductor now. Chidori, staple, bouncing cards back from on the field to the bottom of the deck. Sending detaching material to send the face-up card on your opponent's side field to the top of the deck. 0 fine for her negation. Castell for some more removal. Draco Sack, just one of the many level 7s you can run into your deck. Maestroke for some defense. Arsenal Falcon to pick up some more winged beasts and put them onto the board. Red Eye for a Metal Dragon for the burn. Big Eye for the Monster Steal. And then the last monster to take up the deck capacity is Typhoon. Because driving this when your opponent does a whole bunch of summons and then start dealing with it, just negating and dealing with monster effects, can be resourceful if need be. And that's why Typhoon is here. So, yeah. That is pretty much it, guys. That is all of this in a nutshell. I'll be in the comments just to tell you guys about some additional cards that I was thinking of running, if you don't mind running them yourself. I'm really excited I got through this because I did not want to waste any more time trying to figure things out. But I will keep, of course, you guys posted with anything to help you guys and support you guys that are wanting to play Genesys format and put some cards together. So, thanks everybody for watching. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. It helps out tremendously. Notification bell is right there. And, of course, socials are in the description box below. So, with that said, and that is everyone for watching. And HPJ signing out. Take care.